Nick, can you hear us? Hello, hello.
Yeah, loud and clear.
Awesome. All right, so I'll start with a quiz. Thank you for the introduction. Where is it? Also, good to have you back, Geshe.
Thanks.
I think the last two classes were team classes, so.
Yeah, sorry.
No, good to have you back. We're happy.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, so as you remember, we finished chapter 2 of the Guide to the Bodhisattva's Way of Life. In the third to last paragraph, do you guys remember why does Master Shantideva mention bad deeds by nature and bad deeds which are forbidden? Anyone remember?
Was it because he's done both of them, and he wants to beg to stop doing them?
Yes. I guess the question is, what do each one of these refer to? Do you remember, Nick?
Oh, there are the ones that some of them are vows which became prohibited because people did them. Mm-hmm. I think those are the ones that are forbidden. And by nature is more like the root downfalls or something, or I can't even remember now. I feel like it's so obvious and I forgot.
Well, as far as I remember, it's anyone, regardless of their commitments, if they would do that, they would make bad deeds, right? Bad deeds.
Okay. That sounds reasonable.
Awesome. And then at the end of, thank you, Nick. At the end of the second chapter, how does Master Shantideva finish the second chapter? What are the two key elements necessary for a successful confession? Someone remember that? Yes, Jigme said you have to be sorry. And then the other element? Yes,
promise not to do it again.
Yeah. Awesome. Yay, thank you, Venerables.
Excuse me, Seiji. Regarding question number 1, could you give us an example of each type, please?
Oh, yeah. So those who were forbidden is the bad deeds that you planned because you made a commitment. The one that I could think of is, as opposed to someone who doesn't have the commitment, who would not necessarily plant bad seeds. So for me, drinking can be one of those. If you take the vow to not drink, then you're definitely breaking a commitment. Whereas, if you don't have the vows, if you just drink and don't do anything else, you don't necessarily... In certain cases, you wouldn't necessarily plant a bad seed. Whereas the other ones, the ones that he calls by nature, if you steal, regardless whether you have vows or not, you would make a bad deed. What do you think?
Thank you.
No, there are, I think the basic distinction is like killing people, we call it a natural bad deed because it really hurts somebody. And then there were other bad deeds that originally were allowed in Buddhism. Drinking alcohol was allowed. And then later some monks got in trouble because they got drunk. So then Lord Buddha made a rule that no Buddhist can drink any alcohol. So that's called I don't know, that's called proscribed, or, that a rule was made later. So that's the classic division. One is called a natural bad deed, and one is called a proscribed bad deed.
All right. Would it be the case that if you drink and you don't have the vow, you don't plant a bad deed?
It would have been that way at the beginning of the Buddha's career, yeah.
Oh, okay. Cool. Awesome.
But then he made a rule. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So thank you to Jigme and Utpala to confess the actual deed and to commit of not doing them anymore. for extra points, if you were to make this even stronger, what other two things could you do? Otherwise known as the four something.
To feel good about it? Like breaking them? Or what was the question?
No, to purify, the opposite, to purify the bad.
Okay.
So he asked you could confess and you could promise not to do it again. But if you wanted to make it even cleaner, what could you do?
Yes.
Generate regret.
Oh,
Rosa says 4 powers.
right.
Okay.
Generate regret, and then do some sort of counteraction.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you very much.
And commit to refraining from doing it for a specified amount of time.
Right.
That's
Awesome. Well, that's already there. Confessing and committing not to do them anymore.
I mean, of all the people you could confess to,
Right.
you could upgrade.
Well, in the text, he's already saying, well, he's
It's
confessing
already
to
saying your
his,
teacher. Okay.
yeah, well, to all the conquerors, yeah.
Okay.
I think what Venerable Cutting is referring to is that sometimes we do certain breaking of certain vows, and it's like a habit for us. And if we commit to not breaking it for a particular amount of time, we are creating better karma than if we had said we are not going to commit it ever again and then broke it.
Yep,
Okay.
that makes sense. Thank
Makes
you.
sense.
Awesome. And super exciting. What new chapter did we start? And where's particularly particularly practical about the first paragraph of this third chapter? Lindsay.
Yeah, the chapter is about how to think like a bodhisattva. And I think the practical point is he's praying for beings who are suffering and rejoicing about good things like enlightened beings. And there's one more thing. And he asks the victors to stay.
Right. Yeah. I was thinking more about the what I found super practical about this first paragraph is that he praises the actions of that took them outside of the lower realms. So yeah, I mean by praising the protectors, acquiring the wish, something practical, good deeds that relieve the torment of the lower realms. Meaning he explains to us what really protects us from that is the good deeds more than people who achieved it. I mean, of course, the people who achieved it protect us, but they cannot if we don't do the work. Awesome. All right. So we were in this fifth. We did it up to the fifth last time.
I think we're starting on 6th.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
So please read this verse, Seiji, and then we'll check your translation.
Okay. Detar didakunchate gewa daki sangpakang
Yeah, when it's got an S, lengthen it. Daki.
daki.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sakbakan. Yeah.
Daki sakpakang. Deni deni semchen tamche ki tunyal tamche serwashok.
Good. May the virtue that I have collected from doing all of those good deeds rid all living beings of any kind of good. The only suggestion I have is not very big, and it's to distinguish between the detar and the didar. What's that? I mean, it's a small point, but probably some commentator thought it was important. So
This
detar
virtue that I have collected, and therefore I made the virtue that I have collected?
it's not de, it's not LTAS, it's detar.
Right. And just so?
Yeah, that way, and it's probably a reference to the previous chapter.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? Or something that came before. You see what I mean? So there has to be a more clear reference to what came before. He's referring to something that came earlier, because he said like that. So probably there's 3 commentaries about the like that. So you have to bring it out in the translation. I have collected in that way. You see what I mean?
Okay.
And then you have to make it plural because it's didak. That's the plural. So
Isn't that these
virtues? Yeah, there you
these
go.
deeds kind of? Well,
Yep. That's all.
Okay.
That's good.
or virtues.
Thank you, Nick.
Okay. You got another verse for us? Yeah. Who's gonna read, Seiji?
Let's see. Berta, ¿estás traduciendo? Are you translating? Ah, okay. Min fan?
Yes.
Would you be able to read?
Okay, read the Krovana Baji Sintu Nasos Kyunki Watuni Smantan Smanpanin Tatang Deina Chung Ye Pasho.
Yay, thank you.
Okay, cool.
Thank you.
Seiji, you want to read your translation? May I?
With the help of...
Yeah, it's Nicholas. Nicholas.
May I be the nurse for the sick and the physician and medicine to cure whatever ails living beings until those ailments are cured.
Yeah. Yeah, the only suggestion I have, and that's a subtle thing about translation, okay? It says, ne se kyoki. Oh, yeah. Joa nepa jisidu, the first verse, the first line. Joa nepa jisidu. You could read it as, for as long as living beings can still get sick. And then it changes. Then the feeling of the verse changes. You see? It doesn't say until their ailments are cured, right? That would seem to imply, if they got measles, then until the measles stops. But if the verse, the first line of the verse, the feeling in the original language allows for saying until they are cured of all possible sickness ever. You see what I mean? So that's a little different than saying for as long as they might be sick today. He's allowing to read the verse as for as long as illness exists in the universe. And then he's implying what? That there will be a day when there will be none in the universe. And that's a very beautiful connotation to try to catch in the translation. Okay? That's all. Yeah. Then you gotta figure out how to do it.
Okay.
Because he is, then that becomes bodhicitta. Because that's until the universe clears out of sickness. You see what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah. Nice.
Oh, do you want to talk about this because we didn't go through this.
Do you have more translation?
I do, yes.
Let's do all your translations, and then I'd like to go back and teach you some of the special vocabulary, like the Sanskrit. Okay.
Awesome.
That's partly why we're doing Seiji's text, because the Sanskrit survived. So that's only 5% of the books the Sanskrit survived. The rest were burned and destroyed. So the Bodhisattva Charyavatara, we do have the original Sanskrit. So it's a great way to learn Sanskrit. If you're a yogi who wants to read the yoga texts, for example, the text of the great 80 Mahasiddhas, which would be a very valuable thing to make a course of after Bhagavad Gita. You understand? Okay. Those exist in Tibetan translation. Many of them were lost in Sanskrit. And they were a kind of a favorite of Tsongkhapa. You want to know why? When he invented the Great Prayer Festival, Munlam Chamo, which was a national party, a national 2-week party, and they still do it. It went very well. Like small fires broke out and suddenly got extinguished by themselves and stuff like that. And then he was feeling pretty cool about it. And then he walked down to the Sangbo River outside of Plaza to kind of just walk along the river. And he ran into this weird guy who turned out to be one of the 80 Mahasiddhas. And he said, don't congratulate yourself on this festival, because there were countless demons who attacked it, and it's only because we were hanging out and protecting you that it wasn't a disaster. And then from that day on, he had a deep relationship with them, and a lot of their books still survive in the ancient scriptures that John has saved. So that would make a tasty course for 2 years from now. Wow. Okay. Next.
Cool.
Okay, stand down.
Anyone have a mic?
1 year from now. Yeah.
Oh, Alex, you want to read?
I don't see anything. 세당 검기 charchete chapte papte 트레당 컴페 뚝nhau sel 무게 kelpa warmeitse dagni 세당 검두gyur.
Good. Nice. Okay. Translation.
May a rain of food and drink fall, dispelling the pain of hunger and thirst. May become food and drink during eons of famine.
Good. Okay. Good. All right. That's a good translation. Let me see. Favorite and drink. Despite the pain of hunger. Yeah, and he's going to start this theme of, he doesn't say, may you get a new car or something. He says, may I become your new car. So this whole chapter is very personal. And he says, may I become a new car for you, and you can drive me around. And here he's saying, may I become popcorn and I don't know, milkshakes, and may everybody eat me and drink me. And it's a very beautiful feeling. As you go through the chapter, he's praying that he could become those things. And that's really beautiful, okay? So you got to make sure you drive that home. Yeah, which you did. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, can I ask a quick question?
Yeah, I think I know what you're going to ask me, but go ahead.
If the Dakni is distributed to both parts?
Of the say and the kom, you mean?
Oh, no, I mean, like, may I become food and drink during famine? And, like, does he want to become the rain? Or does he want
Oh, he wants the rain to fall during the famine.
Okay, so it's all the same. Okay, I
Yeah,
see.
but we're going to talk more about that.
Right on.
Okay, you're done with translation.
Yes.
So we're going to go back for some vocabulary work, okay?
Okay.
Which is what we do.
I'll give you the.
Can you give me the control of the plane?
You have those.
I don't know.
Wait, hold on. We need to get Geshe on the Zoom. Can someone email the link to Geshe, please?
I think I have it. I have it on. No, don't go to mail. Here you go. Yeah. I got it here. This is it here, right?
No, I think that's
No, it's not this one. Okay, Shinson. You want to do it? Yay. And then... Oh, okay.
Can you make us a panelist, please?
Okay. Yay. Uh-oh. Okay, share. This one. This one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well, I don't know how much back you want it to.
Yeah, I'm going to go back to here.
Okay.
All right. So each time we do Shantideva's text, we try to learn some Sanskrit. And if the Sanskrit is interesting to you, then you could come to the Sanskrit classes that we have. So we are building up vocabulary. We are learning new Sanskrit words, but we are also building up our knowledge of Sanskrit grammar, which is perfect because it's Sanskrta, okay, which is the meaning of Sanskrit, the name. But it's also quite complex. So I try to teach a different principle each class, each verse, to give you a different principle of the structure of Sanskrit language, and then I try to give you vocabulary which is important. Okay, so I take important words and I give you vocabulary, especially if they have come into Western languages, and then it'll be easier for you to remember. Okay, so we're gonna start going through that. If you're interested in Sanskrit, like if you're a yogi and you want to be able to read the yoga texts, then come to the classes called Organic Sanskrit by Christina Kasakar, who's right there. Okay, and I think they are free online classes, right? Sorry, they're also online, but they're also in person. Can I say? All right. And she's doing a nice job. Why I call it organic is that we are working through Sanskrit by reading a text. I personally don't like to sit down and try to read a grammar book. And that's how I learned Sanskrit, and it was terrible. I had 60 students in my class at Princeton. 58 dropped out. 2 of us were, what do you call it? You didn't get credit, you were auditing. We were the only 2 at the end. So anyway, I prefer to learn a language through something I'm interested in. So, and there's nothing more interesting than Shantideva. Okay, so here's some words. He mentions here in this first verse, let me give you this, this special thing that is required by certain folks. Here you go. Okay. Say Shubha.
Shubha.
Yeah, so Shubha means, it's the word good deeds. When he said, whatever good deeds I've ever done, may they clear away the suffering of all beings, okay? And Shubha is a word that you should know. In Tibetan, it's Gewa, which is extremely common word, okay? And it basically just means good karma. Okay, so you should know the word Shubha. All the words that have SU in them in Sanskrit mean good. Okay, and that's, I taught you before, but there's an Indo-European root. Indo-European is like the mother of Sanskrit. And there's an Indo-European root, ESU, Esu, and it means good. So anything you attach ESU to it, it means good, okay? In Greek, the S dropped out, and you got EU. So U means good in Greek. Like euthanasia means a good death. Eurythmics means good rhythm, right? Euphemism means to say something insulting in a nice way. Okay, all right? So EU. And then in some languages, the SU survived. It's rather than the EU, of the ESU. So anyway, SU, when you see SU at the beginning of a word in Sanskrit, it usually means something good, okay? So you got Shubha, Gewa, and here are some of the ancient roots, Shub and Shum, to beautify. And the ancient root meant more to glide along smoothly, okay? And we have words, shove, shovel, scuffle, they all come from skoib, which is Indo-European, and those, they all mean to glide along smoothly, okay? For things to go along smoothly. And that's, so you should know, by the time you end Seiji's book, you should know, you should have like 100 or 200 Sanskrit words in your mind. And one very important one is Shubha. And Gewa, the corresponding Tibetan, is extremely important in Buddhism. It's everywhere, okay? So Gewa. Gewa di, Gewa kun, sunam, okay? Got it? Okay. All right, 7th verse. I like the word Vaishajya. It means medicine, okay? And you heard it in Vaishajya Guru. Say Vaishajya. Guru. And that's medicine Buddha, okay? They, in the ancient languages, they don't say medicine Buddha, they say medicine teacher. They don't say medicine Buddha. So Vaishajya Guru. And this is a Google, this I found on Google, so I'm not too sure about it. Google AI is the one that told you to use glue to keep cheese on pizza. Did you hear that? No, I mean, it takes information that other people put in, so, you know. But anyway, it looks, I did research it. The ancient word is bisag, which means physician. And that's a form, a misspelling in Google. It should be bisaj. And it comes from abisaj, which means to apply a plaster. In ancient medicine, plaster means like a goopy thing that you put on a wound to suck out the poison. Okay, so Vaishajya comes from abisaj, to put a plaster on somebody. Then we have glana in the Sanskrit. We have glananam and glana. I don't know, I was just curious because it looks so sexy. Glana. I don't know, it sounds like a movie star. And it means to be sick, okay? And to be suffering. And I found an old Indo-European root, gal, which means to be cold and to get sick from getting cold. So when he refers to the sickness of all living beings, he's referring to his illness that they got from the weather or something like that, okay? Glananam. And that came into cold, congealed, jelly, glacier. When you see a greater than sign, it means, linguistically, it came into those other words. You know, it developed into those other words, okay? All right, next verse, which we finished already. So Nick, you asked me about this, and I'm kind of interested in the third line. Muge kalpa parmed se. And muge means famine. And there's famous stories of muge where a family will dig around in their cabinets to find a teaspoon of food and try to share it. And you grew up in a world where hunger was not common, but it has been common in all of history. People have survived off spoonfuls of food. And so muge means famine. I was talking to my wife about a retreat I did in West China at a place called Umeshan, right? And it's a famous mountain. And I did a 2-month retreat in a farmer's cottage there, and got to know the bed bug situation. And and the toilet was 2 boards over a pool of poo-poo that's used for fertilizer. But the balancing thing was kind of tricky. Big, I'm talking like the boards were like 20 feet long. You're 20 feet out over this pool and you're trying to balance and do all your things. But I remember something there. I remember something striking was that I spent 2 days walking through the forest. It takes 2 days to climb that mountain. And I didn't hear a single bird. And I didn't see any animals. No squirrels, no mice, no lizards, nothing. And I asked somebody, I said, why is that? And he said, famine. This used to be a center of famine. And people caught the birds with nets, and they caught the lizards, and they caught the ants, and they caught anything they could eat, and the forest never recovered. And so I think a real muge is that, real starvation is that. So muge kalpa. So the wording here is interesting if you're a translator. Kalpa parmetse means in the middle of those kalpas, right? And bar, we know bar from bardo, from the state between death and rebirth, bardo. So that Tibetan word bar means in between. So you should read this as in the middle of periods of famine. Which can go on for thousands of years in Buddhism. So in the middle of an eon of famine, that's how you read the third line, okay? But there's a very common thing called parkel. Say parkel. What's that? So the whole structure of the time of the universe is outlined in the Abhidharma, and it's very intriguing because it's time and space measurement, the measurement of time and space in the 4th chapter. So it's 3rd chapter. So it's something amazing because they break down measurement of space down to 10 to the 60th power small. So you take an inch and you split it up 10 million times. And so subatomic measurements are in the Abhidharma Kosha. Then you go the opposite way and you go to galactic measurements. And they say this is the measure of a galaxy, medium galaxy, smaller galaxy, greater galaxy, how many light years across. It's amazing. This was written, it was spoken 2,500 years ago. And then they get into cycles of time in the universe, the passing of galaxies and what happens between the passing of galaxies and what happens during the creation of galaxies and then how long they take to fade away and then come back. And that's called parkel, say parkel. So parkel is a kind of kalpa that means the space between kalpas, okay? The space between kalpas, empty space between the kalpas. So you could have read this as parkel, and it would be wrong. Okay, so it's a tricky translation. It's a tricky piece of translation here. Okay, I like to also. This is an interesting place where the Tibetan is a sound translation, which is very common in Chinese translations from Sanskrit, but it's rare in Tibetan. But this word kalpa is in Tibetan, it's kalpa. Okay, so they obviously chose to translate it from the sound rather than the meaning. Okay, And that's very rare in Tibetan. The reason I mention that is because of another word, kalwa. Say kalwa. And that's a completely different word. And the only difference is a silent letter. Okay? So the two words are exactly pronounced the same. Kalwa and kalwa. Okay? Kalpa means a billion years, right? Or whatever. What's kalwa like Kelsang? Yeah, it means your share of something, okay? And it means good luck or good karma, okay? So Kalwa Sangbo or Kelsang. Kelsang is a very, very typical Tibetan name. We have a friend Kelsang in Japan, right? And that means this guy is so good, he would have been the number one Buddha in the eon of goodness. Okay, so people like to name their kids Kelsang, okay, which means you have your goodness, goodness, okay. So don't confuse, as a translator, don't confuse Kelwa with Kalpa, okay, because the sound is completely the same. All right, cool. Who's gonna read the next one, Seiji? Let me get it bigger here. There we go.
Fernanda?
Yay, Fernanda. Thanks for doing such a nice job in Mexico City this last year. We had such a, yeah. Anai and Fernanda, they're amazing. And we decided to try a 3-day event, ACI event in Mexico City. And I didn't know if it was going to work out. And it was amazing, and we scheduled it again for this year, so get ready. Okay.
Thank you. You're all invited to come in July.
Yay. It's a short flight, and it's a beautiful place.
Yes.
So.
Sem Kang Fong
Sem
Cheng Fong Shing Du Bala
Yeah.
Bag Ni Mi Shakte Gulte Yobyad Kodu Na Sokshu Dung Du Nieba Nagju Sik.
Nice. Okay. Yay. Yeah. Seiji, Semchen.
Living beings.
Yeah, Pong is an ancient word. By the way, all these words are ancient. That's translation of Sanskrit from 13 centuries ago. Pong means poor, don't have things. Okay, Pong. Shing means and. Ulwa. Ulwa also means impoverished. Okay, Ulwa. Right. It's not related to Ulwa, to offer something, and it's not related to uk, which means breathing. Okay, ulwala, and it's not related to bull, which means to offer. Okay, so may I become for those people who are poor and don't have anything. May I become, again, it's me. Okay, may I become there. There means any kind of like gold mine or deposit under the earth of precious like copper, gold, silver. Okay, that's called a ter. Okay, and Rinpoche ter, we have it in the mandala offering. Okay, it means a treasure. Okay, it can mean a mine and it can mean a treasure. What's the ultimate ter in the world? According to, ancient thought, it's the ocean. Okay, all jewels are found there. Okay, so sometimes it refers to the ocean. Okay, so may I become a ter, which means inexhaustible. Yeah, cannot ever end. May I become. No, you keep digging down, and you just keep finding more underneath. Okay, a lot of diamond mines are like that. They don't stop mining them because they ran out of diamonds. They just go down to the middle of the earth. and they just stop. They can't dig any deeper. Every time you dig a foot down, you have to dig 3 feet wide to get the truck down there. So then it gets ridiculous. The hole gets to be 2 miles wide. So you just leave it, and it destroys the environment. Okay. Dagdi mi se tirgite. May I become a inexhaustible mine of Yoche. And what's it mean? Anybody? No. Yochi means stuff. Okay? In English we say stuff, right? And it's exactly the same. It's like, what would you like to be for poor people? I'd like to be stuff. Okay? Like food, clothing, furniture, cars, whatever they need. Stuff. Okay? Yoje means stuff. Koa is an ancient word that means necessities. Okay? Things that people really need is called koa. And then gu, anybody? $100?
9.
That's woke up word. Who said 9?
That was me. Meaning a lot in this case.
Oh, wait. Knowing your daughter's tuition, we better raise it. I'm kidding.
9,000.
Nah, I don't want to know. And I'm not offering 9,000. Yeah, it means 9. But in ancient languages, 9 means a lot. Okay? When you want to say zillions, in English we say zillions. Then in Sanskrit you say 9. May I be the 9 things that people need. And it just means a lot. Okay? There's another one, Gya, which means 100. Gandel Hagyama. The 100 angels of bliss. But it's a billion. Okay? Big number. All right. Gu. Kogu means countless things that people need. It means 9 things. Okay? But in ancient languages, 9 was a lot. Okay? Natsog means all different variety. You know? If they need pastries, they should have every kind of different kind that you might find at a good cafe, for example. Okay? All right. Then here's the sweet part. Dun means
Before me.
in front of somebody. Okay, dun. By the way, there's many Tibetans. There's many Sanskrits. There's many Sanskrit dialects, and there's a Tibetan language called epistolary, which means writing letters to people. It's a whole different language. I never taught it to you. It's very complex, very difficult. But you start every letter with Chloe Dundu, which means I offer this letter to the feet of Chloe. Okay? Dundu. So Dundu means in front of, okay, or at the feet of, okay? Dundu. Dun means in front of. There was a movie, Kundun, and that's a high honorific. It means in your divine presence, Kundun. So that's used for some high teachers, Kundun. Okay. Kundun. Dundu nyewa negirchik. May I appear in front of living beings as whatever they need. You know, some kids having Christmas, may I appear as a tricycle in front, you know, and they go, wow, mom bought me a tricycle, you know, and it's really just Shantideva. Okay, right? And I love that. And by the way, I think you can make a lot of cool meditations out of this, you know. May I appear as a chocolate bar to all the kids. May I appear as as a day off to Geshe Michael. Or, you know, like you can pray for anything. And then may I appear in front of them in this way, okay? Dundu. So it's a very, very sweet line. Say dundu.
Dundu.
Nyewar.
Nyewar.
Negyorchik.
Negyorchik.
And the nyewa is beautiful because it says, may I appear right in front of them where they don't even have to take a single step to get on the tricycle. May I appear as a tricycle within 1 step of every kid in the universe. Like that. It's very sweet. It's really super sweet. It's a very rich text for meditation. Okay. All right. I thought you might like to know the word nidhi, which means there. It's the Sanskrit. So nidhi means that idea of an underground deposit of gold or jewels or things like it's called nidhi in Sanskrit, and it's very common in Sanskrit. Ni means below. The word beneath comes from ni. The word underneath comes from ni. The word netherworld comes from ni. And nidhi, dhi is a past tense of da, so it means it's located below. So it means an underground mine or something like nidhi. Okay, so now you can remember. There's a lot of Sanskrit texts that are called nidhi. Okay. All right. Who are you gonna torture next, Seiji? What's going on here? Okay.
Oh, Andrade, do you wanna try?
Yeah, hang on. I'm sorry. I got some kind of technical problems going on here.
Thank you.
Okay, there we go.
Luz dan de sin longs pigeon don dos sum dewa ba taham kat kijang kyang sem kan kun ji don gdu pi jir
Good.
songs ba pong ba met par tang bar ja.
Nice. Good. Nice. Yay. Wow. By the way, if we find a mistake in a text, we mark it with this percent sign. And it means we think it's a mistake, but, could be just an ancient spelling or something. So we don't change it. We just mark it. Okay. So Seiji, lu.
Body.
And Daishin means, and in the same way, all my longchus. Possessions, all the things I own. And also my gewa.
My good virtue.
From the two sum.
Oh. Yeah, 3 something.
From the 3 times. Past, present, and future. Every good deed I ever did in the past, every good deed I'm doing nowadays, and every good deed I haven't done yet, but I will do. Okay? Tamje. All of them. And then we go to the verb, which is at the end, which is typical. Tang. This is the tang in Tonglen. Yeah, I give away. Okay, I give away to Semchen Kun. Yeah, this pongba is a different one, and this one means with hesitation. Okay, so pongba mepa. Yeah, without hesitation, in order that they should dun drup. Achieve their goals. Yeah, and Gibson gave us the Sanskrit Siddhartha. Okay, that's the name of Lord Buddha. That's his personal name. So Shantidev is hiding Lord Buddha's personal name in the verse. It's very beautiful. Okay, so he says, I hope everybody's Siddhartha. Siddha means to reach, and Artha means your goals. And Lord Buddha, the prince's name, Lord Buddha was Siddhartha, okay? Which means the person who achieved their goals. All right. Now, for the deeper meaning, we're going to ask Stanley Nelson. Yeah, in the monastery, it's a secret name, Siddhartha Dindrup. Yeah, it means money. Okay. Then, monks don't have any work, so they don't make any money. So when our sponsors walk into the monastery, everybody's like, did you meet Siddhartha? And it means, did they make a donation? Because money gets everything done. Siddhartha. Okay. And it's a code word so that the sponsor doesn't know you're talking about their donation. Okay. Just so you know, if they ever start talking about Siddhartha in the monastery, now you know. Okay. It's kind of a useful word. All right. Yeah. Okay. And I found the Sanskrit. The Pongba spelling is unusual, and we confirmed it. It should have been Pongba, but it's okay. Okay. So without hesitation, that's the idea. We sometimes make large offerings to other people, but we hesitate, or we feel a little nervous to do it. We start to say, I will make a donation. Who was raising money at the beginning of class? Oh, the Poco
It's
Diablo.
YSI to help cover the expense.
Nick, that's why they named the hotel Poco Diablo. It's a little devil of an expense. So I'll get 500 for that, okay? I was going to say that and I forgot. Okay, so yeah, let's do that. Me means my foundation, which means the money that Seiji makes. Okay. Yeah, okay, good. Which reminds me, we're almost out of time. Seiji's almost at time to 15 minutes of how would you use today's verses in your real life, okay? But I wanted to make an advertisement. See, I had a smart way of doing it. Yeah. This is the Geshe thing. It's called ding, 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 checkmate. Okay. You work back 3-4 steps, and then you guide the unsuspecting student into doing something that you want. So anyway, I have this dream this year, as I mentioned in the other translation class, but that was mostly for Europeans, okay? And this translation class is mostly for Asians, time-wise, because the world is round. So they didn't hear the advertisement I made, but we will finish 14 years, hard work, for me anyway, of the Lam Rim, of the teachings on the steps of the path. So we've been doing it for 14 years. And Kyoto, we leave for Kyoto the day after Thanksgiving, and that will be the last class of 14 years. And then it's my job to think what would be sexy to do next. And that's some of the things I have to think about. And so ACI, the Steps on the Path organization has, they have 4 events every year, and I have to think of a new thing that would be useful for people or good for people to learn. So I had a inspiration to continue with 2 texts. And one is going to be this book called Dangzhen Shangdep. Say Dangzhen Shangdep. Shangdep means a vociferous argument, a nasty argument between 2 people. And then Dangzhen means your selfishness and your grasping to self-existence fights against wisdom. So it's called the bitter argument between wisdom and grasping to a real pen, for example, okay? And it's a very, very famous piece of poetry, long, very long. And it's a classic. It's a, what do you call that? The classic poem, epic. It's epic poetry, and it's never been translated correctly. And my teacher started it, and he couldn't finish it. He passed away before he could finish it. So I decided to teach it. And I'm 9 or 10 years into it. And I want to finish it. So I thought next year, half of what we'll do is we'll finish that book, because it's an extraordinary meditation manual. It's not just an argument between self-existence and emptiness. It's about 100 meditations on emptiness. So it's extraordinary meditation manual. Because I feel that in that organization, the Steps of the Path organization, we haven't had enough emphasis on meditation, or we could do more. and that's the place to do it. It's called Samadhi House. So anyway, half the time we're going to study that book. And then in the second class, we're going to do Diamond Way. Sort of a, I'll call it accessible Diamond Way. We have a 18 course, 20,000 pages Diamond Way course, which takes 7 years to finish properly. And you have to finish 7 years of preparation. So that's a 14-year course. And there are brave people who are doing that. And people like John Brady, Carney, and other great people, Geshe, Venerable Jigme Palmo, people are teaching it in the world, and it's amazing, and Peter and Maria are teaching it, and I'm very happy they're doing it. So the tough guys are working through this like 14-year thing. And I think it would be nice to have a more, I don't know, something a little bit less than 14 years, like 13 years? No. So anyway, I was going to do Diamond Way for a while, because I haven't taught it in 20 years or something. So I would like to do some in sort of a smooth way, or, not too nasty way. So anyway, to do that, you are required to do a Lam Rim. Before you go into that topic, you are required to teach the student Lam Rim. And I was trying to think of a nice, beautiful, accessible Lam Rim that I could finish in 4 sessions next year for that organization. And I thought to use a Lam Rim called Song of My Spiritual Life, which was, it's Jetsun Kapa's own record of his spiritual life. And he's unusual because he never talked about himself, ever. Except in this one book. He said, here's how I did my practice, my whole life. This is how I practiced. It's very short, it's very beautiful, it's very complete, and Gibson finished it. So Gibson finished it this year. So we're gonna clean it up and get it ready to publish, by February. And our Diamond Cutter Press has agreed to publish it on time for the springtime, right? If she gets it on time, for the springtime retreat at Diamond Mountain. And here's a painting. So my wife's son, Kazo, is a painter. He's a good painter. And years ago, I asked him to paint Tsongkhapa for me, and he did. And I like it. His eyes are a little red, I don't know. But I enjoy it, and I enjoy the painting. So I thought me and Rosa talked it over, and we probably will use it on the cover. And it'll be a pocket book. So we have a normal Mixed Nuts Translators book series, and each book is 23 pounds. And 12 kilos, and you got to drag it around. And then we have a pocket book series, which is books that are meant to fit in your purse. And the size of that book will be a purse book. And so that leads me to my real advertisement, which is he's my godson, by the way. He's doing an art show in Flagstaff, and he owns a large gallery there. He rented a huge gallery. It would fit 20 artists, and he gives it to other artists to paint. He makes it available to other artists to paint. So there's all the best artists in Flagstaff have a place to go and paint. And it's a huge garage, what do you call them? Mechanic garage. But it's one of those military Quonset huts. So anyway, it's beautiful, and it's a beautiful place for a art show. And so for the first time in his life, he's doing an art show of himself. and he's very, very good. So anyway, he's invited everybody to come December 13th, 6 o'clock in Flagstaff. Okay, and you can look it up. It's called Mocap. It's free to get in. You can, of course, you can't drink the wine and the cheese, but you can eat the cheese. It'll be a cool show. So I'm advertising that. Okay, I'm getting out of here. You ready, Seiji?
All right.
Yeah, go. Okay. Seiji's going to lead a conversation. I have to leave this open, right? Of why,
No, I don't think so.
how could you use these verses in your real life? Okay, here we go.
Okay. All right, so beautiful, beautiful chapter. Well, I want to start by saying that this connects really well to the previous book. One of my favorite things about the previous book was that it taught us how to use the practice of Tonglen outside of the cushion without people necessarily knowing. And what I love about these verses here is that it's things that we can think of as we're going through a normal life. So, yeah, beautiful prayers. Anyone has any ideas that how you would apply it to your life?
I will try.
Uh-huh.
So I was thinking this verse where he says, "May I appear as a tricycle or as food. May I be that thing." And I was thinking that as we walk our day, in our daily life, we could have this mind like if I'm walking in Madrid, going to the subway, let's say, and I see someone sleeping on the floor, I could instantly say, "May I appear as a good home to you," or if it's cold, like a blanket. And to load that also with the 4 types of giving, like not only being the blanket, but being the inner offering and the understanding of seeds and emptiness. And if you see someone, a boy crying, may I be like a happy thought that will make you not cry, and apply that.
Wow. Awesome.
Yeah, as Teresa was saying, this is a beautiful way to walk through the day and plant seeds every step. Beautiful.
You know, I like that in the last book we always said, "May I destroy my self-cherishing," and it's beautiful. And I see this as the next step. Like you not only destroying your self-cherishing, but you're doing it through these awesome prayers, wishes. It's beautiful. Alexa?
Hi. I was thinking that this kind of helped me expand my ideas of what I can give. Sometimes when we get into this path of giving to others, we feel like we're short in things, like money or time, because that's the things we want to get, right? We want to like upgrade our, like the 5 goals of a human life, so that eventually we could give something of what we have. But I think this chapter helps me a lot to think that with a single good thought, it creates the virtue to eventually be able to give everything I want to all beings, right? So it was very inspiring to see that it doesn't matter what we think we have or don't have, the possibility to be generous is always available.
Ah, beautiful. Thank you. Oh, of course, Geshe Michael.
So we've been talking about diamond wave practice, and there's a thing called, what do you call, healthy paranoia? in Daimyo practice, and I will raise the possibility that some people have succeeded in this city or in this skill of appearing as a tricycle. You see what I mean? I'll suggest that some people have succeeded at that, which in the mind of a Diamond Way practitioner becomes this kind of paranoia that every tricycle you ever meet is a Buddha, and is an emanation of a Buddha. And there are no normal tricycles. Like every chair you ever sat in was some Buddha who studied Shantideva before and perfected that city, and you're sitting in the Buddha's lap or something like that right now. And so I suggest it as a kind of a healthy paranoia. It can get a little weird, but I suggest it sometimes think about it, you know. Okay, yeah. Like the next cinnamon roll you eat could be a Buddha.
Wow. Wow. Also, there's nothing that cannot be a Buddha.
I just to kind of add to all of this, that the very thing that a Buddha would do would be to appear in all these different ways, and what better seed to plant it but to actually become the things that people want, you know, mentally put that into practice. If it's true that Buddha emanates as inanimate objects, and people, and thoughts, and then those would be the seeds. Those would be the seeds. That's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you. I haven't thought about this before, but what you're making me think of with this teaching is that I could start to pretend that I'm those things before I actually am. Like, if I see someone getting a gift or eating food that they like or anything at all, I could just think about how that's me. Since it is my karma anyway to see that happening, to take possession of that and have that become an engine for me to truly see myself that way in a way that's not pretending.
Wow. Gibson.
Okay. So the other day, Geshe is talking about how to find a sign and make a correlation about the deed that you've done before, how to give the sacred offering to other people. So I think it can combine with the text you translated before about the Tonglen, using every breath that you had and sacred that giving everything through your breath to other people and without they knowing. I think because I read the Tonglen text a few days ago, and one of the sections say, can you actually take away other people's pain and actually give them happiness? And Nagarjuna says, you can, but it will help you to become the one day you actually can take away other people's pain and happiness. So I think it's very good for me to do it. Thank you.
Yay. Alex, please.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, this is maybe a spoiler for DCI 3 advanced level. But I was translating it, and Geshe said about be the boomerang, and it's beautiful. For me, it was beautiful. Like you can be the other part of the seed of their karma. Like if they are doing a good thing, you can be the boomerang. Like you can give them what they deserve or what will grow from their own seed that they are doing now. You can say like, I don't want you to wait for the seed to grow, so I will be the boomerang. So I will give you whatever you deserve because you planted it. So I remember that now and I wanted to share it. I will be the law of karma, yeah.
Wow. Thank you. I think we have maybe time for one or two.
If there's no one else, I have another one. I was just thinking about sometimes we feel like there's things we want, but there's no people to plant them with. Like we're trying to find the partner or the person to plant the seed with. Maybe this is also a great meditation to just like think of all the people and all the beings that I even don't know. May they have this that I want, or may they be the object of the happiness I want to see in the future. So it's just like expanding the objects that we have to also be generous, even if we don't perceive them directly right now.
Yay.
First of all, Seiji, Geshe Michael, thank you so much for teaching. There was a line, I don't remember the verse, but it was emphasizing without hesitation. And it just feels like I've underestimated the danger of hesitation. It's like, I don't want angels to hesitate. I don't want the Buddhas to hesitate. You know, it's the urgency, that feeling is something that I haven't connected to the ways that I hesitate when I think of serving someone else, or I have a thought of how I could help, but the self gets in the way of, oh, is it going to be weird, or how am I going to be perceived? So it's just a really beautiful emphasis, so thank you.
Thank you. Okay. I think it's time for Peachtree World News. Thank you everyone, and thank you, Geshe.
Yeah, thank you, Geshe. Thank you, Seiji. Yeah, go to the bathroom because, as Geshe said, this may be your last chance. Okay, so a lot of things happening these days. Wonderful event, YSI. Thank you so much for everything you're doing. Today I had a chance to go to the YSI house. It's like amazing. It's like I was talking with Mike about, it's like being in a house built with, you see how they built with poker cards, like a castle, and the atmosphere is pristine. Like I didn't want to say anything because I thought like anything could like crumble the place down. So I just want to congratulate you because I don't know what you're doing, Arao, but it's amazing. You're building like I don't know, like an army of enlightened Samadhi people or something. So first I want to show you the certificate that Jigmela shared with us, and just, I don't know, she was here and talked to her. She said it's okay to share this. But we are very happy that, well, she went to the bathroom probably. It's amazing that she went through it. She was going through some health issues, but now she seems to be on her way to a better, condition. And I just wanted to kind of congratulate her, but also kind of say that it's so wonderful to have her around and wish her the very, very best, and to please stay and keep helping us and keep teaching us. So thank you, Jigmela, for everything. And yeah, just to remind you that we are in the context of YSI. Is wonderful event. I was also telling Mike, like, this is kind of, I feel, because I spent a lot of time in Sedona, that this is like kind of a Christmas party when like all the family from all over comes and visits and we hang out. So it's wonderful to have these opportunities as well. Sometimes gets a little quiet, not too quiet, but this what I'm saying is like it's very noticeable when so many people comes. So thank you for coming. And in that sense, we want to encourage you and ask for your help if you can and want. This venue is a wonderful venue. You can participate and help us to keep having this venue. Otherwise, maybe tomorrow we don't have class here. Who knows? Geshe Michael already gave a big support with this. Thank you so much, Geshe-la. And if you are interested, if you can, please help us for paying off Hatha Yoga Pradipika for venue. And also, if you are here live, just to remind you, these classes happen every Saturday, every Monday. In the western part of the world, in the eastern part, they happen on Tuesday and Saturday. Yeah, and last time we did a little mistake. I learned something cool, like the Chinese language, they add one line for day. It's like one line for Monday, 2 lines from Tuesday, 3 lines for Wednesday, and I don't know, more things like that. Very cool. And okay, we were playing a game the other day about what's the relationship between the 4 fruits and the bodhisattva levels. And I've been really wondering for a long time. Nobody knows, nobody cares, I don't know. But really those are the things like sometimes I get very, how to say, excited, but also like I wonder a lot, like what I can't find out. And then our dear friends, I want to thank you so much, Alexander and Elena. Thank you so much because they help us, and what they did is very wonderful. They put the 18 foundation courses into an AI system, and then they came up with this answer, which I don't know if it's correct, but it's wonderful to see the attempt. They say Bhumi 1 is fruit 1, Bhumi 4 is fruit 2, Bhumi 5 is for fruit 3, and Bhumi 7 is for fruit 4. I mean, it will be long to read everything, but it's very interesting. And because of that, I want to congratulate you, and you made the prize, which is, you want to come and real quickly receive this wonderful book, Karmic Management. Thank you so much. Is your prize. Plus, I promise $100, but you didn't submit the video yet. So I'm going to give you 50, and if you do the video, you get another 50. Okay. But thank you. It's wonderful. It's wonderful. And great idea. Yeah, so that's some of the things we try to do, interact with audience and bring a good break where you have a good time. And also, if you can get with something meaningful, God bless. And then, yeah, you can follow, social media things, whatever. Say hi, if you want to say something or share a project, just contact us. You can send an email or just talk to me. And we are planning an event for New Year. And that's all. No, we also want to invite you to consider coming to Kyoto. Tim Lowenhop I don't see him here today, but soon he will be here with us talking about it. And I think he has good news for people who may want to go. There are new opportunities and chances to join. And yeah, he will be here probably next Monday talking about that. Okay, now we have a special interview with a friend of us who is actually right now in Japan. So Cool Tech Table be kind enough to spotlight Edmond from DSCU and Xiaopin. Is Xiaopin here?
Hello.
I saw her somewhere.
Hello, Juan. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I don't see you. Oh yeah, now I see you.
Yeah, hello.
Hello. For those of you who don't know, Edmond is one of the main producers of the DSCU, the university that Xiaoping is the president of, and he has exciting news to share with us today. So Edmond, can you share with us what's new, what's happening in DSCU?
Yes, of course. Yeah, now for those who don't know me, I'm Edmund Huang, and now I previously stayed in Shenzhen, but now I moved to Kyoto with my family 2 years ago for the DSU project. Yeah, and now I'm staying in Kyoto. And by the way, Kyoto is a very beautiful city. You will definitely come for the coming the ACI event. Actually, we have for DSU we have just finished our last term, which is in U.S. We visit St. Donna, we visit Princeton, and also we have classes in Princeton and also Anding inside the Anding building, which is very exciting. And then after that, now actually we just started our enrollment process for our next cohort, which will be include the MBA, EMBA, and also a YLP program. Yeah, this is what we have been. We are working on. Actually, our team is quite busy these days. There will be because we will start our next cohort in the coming March. And then the first cohort will graduate in March, and then we will start the next cohort in March. So this is the season that we are planning all the recruitment enrollment activities. Yeah.
Okay, so this is a good time for people who want to sign up for to be part of the next group.
Yeah.
DSU. Yeah. I have been so lucky to have the chance. To be in some of your events, to be in some of the classes. I think the content is amazing, it's unbelievable. Also, the experiences that the SEU offers are very well thought. Like, you will guarantee have a good time. When they come to Sedona, it's super, super fun for them. I have seen it. Then they just had a program in New York and New Jersey. Also unbelievable. And I see there is a very special and sweet connection that the students get to develop with Geshe Michael, Xiaoping, Stanley, and other teachers. So what I've seen is unbelievable. It's really worth it. Could you tell us, Edmund, a little bit more about the three kinds of programs that people can sign up?
Yeah, first of all, we have an EMBA program. This program is for the more seniors executive. And the next one will have MBAs, which for the people who maybe just start a business. And then the last one, which is a new one, is what we call the Young Leaders Program. With the target students are from 18 to 24, which means they are most of the students are having their classes in university. This program is actually quite new. And one of our short-term goal is to get accredited and start our bachelor degree. So this YLP program, Young Leaders Program, is one of the program we started as a preparation for our bachelor degrees.
Okay, and that's starting this next term. It's already beginning. Already starting.
Yeah, not started yet. The next cohort will be our first YLP program, and actually we have our first cohort of the EMBA and MBA right now, which this cohort will be graduate in the coming March, and also the coming March will be the starting time of our next cohort. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, Edmund. So, what people should do if they want to sign up?
Yes, of course. As part of our enrollment process, actually, we have rolled out a very large campaign. And here I would like to introduce two of the activity which is going to happen. The first of all is that on November 20th, which is this Friday, in the World Central Time, which is Arizona time, at 9 a.m. in the morning, we will have an English section of our enrollment information section in English online. Can you go back to the previous PPT? This one, yeah. As for this one, we will have, if you want to understand more what DSU is doing, and we will also invite some students for the sharing in this event, and also we will have some admission information about our second cohort. So, by the way, Geshe Michael and our students have visited Princeton. I believe many of knows, And then we will also share one of the videos about the Princeton tour, which is quite interesting. You will definitely won't miss it. This is the first one, and the second one actually for in the Asia. Actually, we will plan to have an admission information roadshow in different cities in China and also Taiwan. So, and during starting from November to January next year, we will visit different cities for different have admission information sections there. And then for those interested in, you will sign. You will register. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Edmond. And I'll make sure to keep sharing the invitation for people so they can attend to
thank you so much.
Jose, informational programs. Thank you very much. Good to see you. Best wish. We need to go to the next guest, Earl. Thank you, Earl, for everything you're doing. And yeah, I think it's really, really wonderful event. I don't know what you're doing. As I say, you're doing amazing, and I know you're planning more. So can you tell us what is it?
Yeah, well, just a couple minutes. I'll talk about a couple events coming up. The first one is for our Asian market, our Asian fans, students. Lady Naguma 2 is coming up. I can't read. On the 28th to the 1st of December. This is taken from Geshe Michael's teachings. He taught 10 yoga programs back in the day. And we took from a couple of those programs and created a program on 5 kinds of winds, connected to 5 negative emotions, transformed into 5 kinds of wisdoms through 19 different practices. It's a very beautiful program, and thank you, Geshe, for teaching us those. If you're interested, talk to one of our Chinese distributors, and it's a very beautiful 4-day program. Second, just confirmed, those dates are wrong. We confirmed them about 10 minutes ago. It's the 5th to the 10th. One of the greatest texts ever written. I'm excited because I was in 3-year retreat for part of these teachings. So I actually haven't heard Geshe Michael's teachings on all of this text. So I'm extremely excited. February 5 to 10, we will embark on a new text, a new journey, and thank you so much for teaching.
You don't know where is it gonna be yet? You were talking about the beach.
Yeah, we have to talk to the boss about that. And then lastly, wanted to talk about a fundraising opportunity. This, we are selling these. This book holder was from Geshe Michael. Then spent time with Venerable Jigme on her at her house, and I was talking with Teresa, and she said, maybe we talked about pronoia. Like, it's been at Jigme's house, it's been at Geshe Michael's house. Maybe it's Shantideva itself. And I got something to confess, JB. JB just yesterday showed us how to wrap a book properly, and it was really cool. And I unwrapped this, and I was wrapping it back up, and I thought I did okay. And Geshe was watching. He's like, I'll show you how to do that properly. So JB, I'm sorry, I'm a bad student. Thank you for teaching us the other day. The book is a reverse engineered book. We took Geshe Michael's translation of the Pradipika and we made it into a pecha. beautiful wood, outside and inside. We're going to auction 3 of them off. Geshe Michael, we're hoping will give a special message on those 3 on the cover. And then we have another 47 for sale. They'll be signed, they'll be collector items. So that's our fund. We do a fundraiser every single program, and we sell things also. And so that's what we'll do this time.
Thank you. Let's go now to Geshe Michael and Adam.
Well, someone might come up here. Where'd the eyeglass? Do I join, I guess? Right? Okay, good. All right, we're good. All righty. Where is Mr. Adam?
I'm right here again. Can you guys see the homework?
I don't know, honey.
Yeah, if you can zoom in a little bit for those of us that are aging. Well, I can zoom in myself.
How does that look? Is that a little bit better?
It looks like, Adam, you're using a split screen.
Oh, you know what? Yeah, sorry about that. I forgot to black them out. Yeah. Here, give me just 1 second.
Running down a dream.
Oh, nice. Now we got 2 handsome guys. I don't see that on my screen. Rob, any way to help me? I don't know.
Oh, it's gone.
It's gone?
The homework?
Yeah.
It shall return.
It shall return, yes.
Almost.
Instead, you get me.
10 seconds. Okay.
Good to go.
Somebody is.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
Adam, you go ahead and do your homework, and I'll catch up.
Okay.
Adam, you go ahead and do your homework.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay, is that, yeah, there we go.
Yay.
Okay, yeah, forget anything you saw. Wish I had one little pens from Men in Black. I would just erase your memory. Okay, so K-Trip J has been taking some time to really stress that when we perceive a sound or a coffee cup, we simultaneously perceive all of its qualities. So without ascertaining them. So when we perceive a sound, we perceive its impermanence without ascertaining its impermanence. And what impact may that have upon our spiritual evolution?
Whoa.
There's not necessarily a right or wrong answer, but...
What just popped into my mind is that the Buddha nature that I have has the quality of being the Buddha, has the quality of being the same Buddha nature that the Buddha I will become will have. And so in a sense, I'm perceiving that. I'm not perceiving it.
It's interesting. It's interesting because
I'm not ascertaining it, but I'm perceiving it.
I love it, and that's actually, I focused on one specific thing, but I almost included 2. And the second one that I was thinking about including very much so followed your line of thought there. If we're perceiving a sound, right, or looking at a coffee cup, these are both things that we're directly perceiving with our senses, right? So something like our Buddha nature or what I was going to focus on was the lack of a coffee cup's lack of existing from its own side. And that is necessarily an unchanging thing. And we do not perceive that with our senses. The interesting thing there is that our Buddha nature, or our quality of being empty, is also something that we are one with, right? But we are not Zeichik with those things. To be Zeichik necessarily means to be something which is changing. And to be one with something can also include unchanging aspects of any particular object. Does that make sense? So I kind of went down that same line of thought, and I think maybe where we kind of left, where your thought left off, Venerable Upala, was just that we need to specify between being Zeichik and being Chik. Right? Being Zeichik means that when I perceive it with my sense consciousness, I perceive all of its qualities simultaneously. That object does have unchanging qualities that also exist with it, that are one with it, but we do not perceive those with the senses. We have to be in a deep state of meditation to perceive those things. Which is obviously kind of why I left it out. But I love it that you kind of almost took the words right out of my mouth. That was really sweet. So there are many ways to approach this question, but one major thing stands out here. So the way that I went with it, without talking about the unchanging qualities that come along with everything, is that if we understood the changing nature of our own body and mind, we'd use our time more wisely. And our attention would be squarely placed upon adding to the two collections of merit and wisdom. Right? So I would say that our practice and the strength of our practice is directly proportional to how much we've perceived our own impermanence. But I'd love to hear anybody else got any ideas? Otherwise, we'll move on. So in his efforts to prove that we do perceive certain qualities of objects of direct perception without perceiving others, what consequence, or here we could say without ascertaining others, what consequence is given by KJJ in response to the mind-only assertion that the eye consciousness that holds blue and the color blue are a single indivisible thing? I always hear the Jeopardy music starts playing in my head when nobody's answering. Give you another few seconds and then we'll just unload it. Nobody? There was a particular argument that we were giving in response to saying that here, well, we'll just go through it. So KJJ says that if it is the case that the eye consciousness which holds blue and the color blue were a single indivisible thing, then we would be looking at the foundation consciousness, right? So if I'm looking at the color blue, I'm actually looking at my own mind. So basically the assertion here is that from the perspective of the mind-only school, when we look at the color blue, we're looking at our own mind. However, there's an additional seed that ripens along with the appearance of the color blue, which gives the impression that it's out there and separate from us. So it would follow that if the perception of the color blue and the color blue itself are a single thing, then we could say that we're seeing our own mind as being over there and cut off. Since we do not perceive our mind as being distant and cut off, we therefore assert that there are aspects of objects that are perceived and unacknowledged. Does that follow? Sorry, translators. I know it's a mouthful. But,
yeah.
Okay, so this next one's pretty straightforward. We were getting to a point where we're about to go off and explore the topic of self-perception, self-awareness, apperception. And Geshe said that we were going to write an appendix on this topic. So the second reference that we went to was from Jetson Kappa, and he gave a list of 4 things, right? Which isn't an exhaustible list, but he specifically gave 4 things that were addressed in the last class as things that are not accepted by the higher middle way school.
Apperception.
Yeah, totally. Apperception's one, yeah.
And Ben just gave it
Wrong 10 on the list? Wrong 10.
Wrong 10, actual objects. Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Kunshi?
Yeah, and from the perspective of the lower middle way school, that's going to be a hit.
Oscar said
Rangyukitak.
Right.
Yeah, I've got my chat previews turned off. I find them, they're a little distracting sometimes. So sorry if I missed your, Oscar, if I missed your contribution there, sir. Thank you. All right.
Good.
Cool.
All right. So we got Yunmei. Anybody?
Indisputable.
Yeah.
Nice.
What Gyan?
Distant.
Yeah, totally. Totally. Yeah. I put kind of span or the width between 2 things. It could be distant. Yeah. All right, so that's our homework. And here's my translation. So the first.
Can you read the Tibetan, Adam?
Yes, sir. Love to. Rang Tsindan, Rang Gyukita, Kunshi, Rang Rik Shimin Dupadang, Chi Dundang, Nin Rik Gitong Ni Tokpa, Denzin Nyun Drip to Dupa. Sangye Ki Tro Nang Me Shin Jin Yewa, Sekpate, Dre Cho Shidang Che Ge Yupale.
Nice. Okay. Let's check your translation. Of the 8 provided here, 4 are associated with being positive positions. Yeah, so whose positions, Adam?
Higher middle way.
Yeah, these are 8 ideas that distinguish Nagarjuna. Okay, the highest viewpoint of emptiness. These are 8 different ideas that distinguish higher middle way from lower middle way. So it's kind of strange to divide one of the classical schools of ancient India into 2 parts, and you might wonder why there's a higher part of the middle way and there's a lower part of the middle way. These 8 qualities are what distinguishes the 2, okay? Mainly. So, I gotta see the whole thing. Yeah, so they don't accept 4 things, and they do accept 4 other things, okay? So there's 4 points that they don't agree on with the lower middle way, and there's 4 points which they add that the lower middle way would not add, okay? So here's the 4 that they don't agree to, and we went through those 4 already in the homework, okay? Rangtsen. Rangtsen means, in the lower schools, they always distinguish between the actual cup on the table and the idea of the cup, okay, the archetype of the cup in your mind. So this actual cup on the table is an idea that the higher middle way does not accept. Okay, in a sense, all things are archetypes. Everything you ever saw was an image in your mind. Okay, you were making up images. Okay, so they don't accept there's an idea of a cup, and then there's the real cup. They don't accept the second one. The highest school of Buddhism doesn't accept the second one. Okay, very, very delicate. Then Rangyugitak, what's that, Adam? Roughly.
The independent reasons.
Which means that the lower middle way school believes that words and arguments have an innate power that make them logical. So unless the other person was insane, it often happens in the kitchen with your wife or husband. You explain something clearly, you use correct logic, and they say, no, that's not the way I see it. And you say, but even Buddha would accept this logic because it's airtight. So the higher school is actually saying there's no such thing as airtight logic, because the logic that a person hears is coming from their mental seeds. Okay? It's very interesting. It's very interesting. Okay? So Rangyu Kitak, we don't accept, in the higher middle way, we don't accept that certain words will always be understood the same by different people. As we saw in the recent political, year of, it's so nice that that year is over, even though it was a sad ending. Okay, Kunshi. Kunshi is what, Adam?
Foundation consciousness, storehouse consciousness.
Yeah, now, is it that the higher half of the middle way would not accept the idea of a part of your mind where your karma seeds stay? Is it that the higher middle way would not accept the concept of a part of your mind where your karmic seeds stay? Do they have a problem with that, higher middle way? They
Yes.
don't have a problem with that. They do not have a problem with that, okay? That's fine. You can say that. There is no such location. But the concept is okay. There's a part of your mind where the seeds stay. That part's okay. But then the mind-only school adds one more thing, which is
this by definition?
You could say that, but more. What's the big thing about blue, Nick?
It's art. It is your mind. You're looking at your own mind.
Yeah, you are watching your own mind. That part, the higher middle way doesn't buy. Okay, the lower middle way, and especially what we call the ones who lean towards the middle, towards the mind-only school, they would say that blue, when you see blue, you're watching the part of your own mind where karmic seeds are stored. And there is no such thing as an external world. Okay? And the higher middle way says that's going too far. That's going too far. There is an external world. Okay? All right, and then Rangrig, what's that, Adam?
Apperception.
Yeah, apperception is a psychology word, which happens to be totally correct translation, but nobody ever heard of it. And it means the ability of the mind to see the mind, okay, in a single instant. And the people who criticize it say, you are talking about a knife which could cut itself, or you are talking about a guy who could ride on his own back. And it's just not possible. In a single millisecond, it's not possible that the mind could perceive itself. Okay, like that. It's not possible. It couldn't be the object and the perceiver at the same moment. And then the lower middle way school or other schools that accept apperception or the ability of the mind in a single instant to perceive itself, right? Then they would say, well, then how can you remember that you saw something yesterday? There must have been a self-awareness going on. And then the higher school says, well, that's not in the same instant. It's maybe a couple instants later that you saw yourself. You realized you were picking your nose and you were sitting in front of the whole all the class, and then, you can remember that, which proves you were aware that you're picking your nose. But it was right after you picked your nose. Okay. My examples are going down in history, right? All right. Now, we need 4 ideas that the higher middle way will accept, right? And these are 8 concepts which differentiate the higher middle way. And I don't know if it was me, I'd always be curious, why is there a higher part of the good school and a lower part of the good school if it's the good school? If it's Lord Buddha's personal school, why are there higher and lower parts to it? And these 8 concepts distinguish the 2 parts of the two halves of the middle way school. The higher middle way school says there do exist chi-din, Adam.
Outer objects.
Yeah, outer objects. Blue, when you see a color blue, unless it's in a dream, for example, you are looking at something outside of yourself, okay, physically. And now here it gets delicate, okay? Nyen ran ki tong ni topa.
I put, because I saw how you unpacked Nyenrang as listeners and, or the lower paths, or people we call listeners and self-made victors.
Good.
So
yeah, that's correct.
The realization of emptiness by practitioners of lower paths.
I'm busy. I'm kidding. I'll take it later. Some, not all. Yeah, sorry, we had a popcorn interruption. Yeah, Nyerangi Toni Topa. This is an interesting question, okay? Now, there's three tracks, three famous tracks in Buddhism. Lowest track is called listener. Second track is called self-made Buddha, and you always have to say immediately that they are not Buddhists. And then Bodhisattva track. So those are the three tracks, okay? And they are distinguished. The third track is distinguished from the two lower tracks by bodhicitta, by the fact that their motivation for undertaking their spiritual practice is to reach a place where they can serve all living beings, okay? So now all spiritual practitioners in Buddhism are one of those three tracks, okay? And then the question comes up, in the lower middle way, unless you have bodhicitta, you cannot see emptiness directly. Okay, in the lower middle way, unless you have bodhicitta, you cannot see emptiness directly. You can see the lack of self-nature, but you cannot see emptiness. So then that implies the lower middle way has degrees of emptiness. There's real emptiness, then there's half emptiness, and then there's kind of emptiness. Okay? And only bodhisattvas can see the real emptiness. Okay? And they don't refer to the emptiness that lower track people see as emptiness. You're not allowed to use the word emptiness for what lower track people see in the lower half of the middle way school. You're not allowed to call it. You can call it dagme, anatman, lack of a self-nature. You cannot call it emptiness. Emptiness means the one that bodhisattvas see. Okay, in the lower middle way. Okay, then the higher middle way says the whole thing is ridiculous. You either saw it or you didn't see it. You know. Okay, and they say people without the motivation to serve other people can see emptiness. And I like to always point out like great physicists or something like that. You know, like a really amazing physicist or an amazing psychologist can perceive that what you perceive in your life is coming from seeds in your mind. That's possible. They could perceive that, okay? They could perceive that. So that's all. Lower middle way, they want to have flavors of emptiness, degrees of emptiness. Higher middle way, look, you either see it or you don't see it. And you do not have to have bodhicitta to see it. Okay? You could see it as a scientist or something, if you were super smart or something. Okay? Okay, so that's the second unique positive belief of the higher half of the middle way. Here's the third one. Adam.
What was it? Chitzen Nyanagi Tomba.
Denzin.
Denzin Nyanjupa. Yeah, so we accept the tendency to see things as real as an obstacle to nirvana.
Yeah, so this is a difficult point. There's two kinds of jippas in Buddhism. What's a jippa?
Obstacles.
Yeah, it means obstacles. Yeah, you could say obstacle. Yeah. By the way, literally it means shadow. Okay, jippa literally means shadow. And I can tell you some naughty jokes about that, but I'm not going to, which proves I have some self-control. Denzin, so denzin means believing that the pen is coming from its own side. Okay, grasping to things as self-existent means believing that the pen is coming from its side. Okay, and there are two kinds of spiritual obstacles, and they are strange because the first one is named from what causes it, and the second one is named from what it blocks you from. Okay? There's two kinds of spiritual obstacles. The first one is named from its nasty nature, and the second one is named from the beautiful thing that it stops you from. So it's not parallel. It's a little strange. One is called Nyundrup, and one is called Shidrup. Okay, say Nyundrup, Shidrup. Nyundrup, Shidrup. What's Nyomong? What's Nyomong? Don't say mental affliction. It irritates. It afflicts me. By the way, if you want to test the translation, look it up on Google. Look up mental affliction. Somebody can do it right now. Search mental affliction on Google. Tell me how many, it'll brag about how many results it got in the first 10 seconds or something. I hope, or it used to. Oh, they don't have any more. They probably gave up. Anyway, you won't find more than 10 billion. Okay? Mental affliction. Nobody uses that word. Nobody. We call it negative emotion, right? So compare those two searches. You can ask the AI. Nowadays you have to make it simpler so the AI can understand it. How many times does the word mental affliction occur on Google? And then ask it how many times does the word negative emotion occur on Google. And if you're a translator, you use the one that has the more results, right? Okay? Anyway, so Nyundrup means an obstacle in your mind created by negative thoughts. And then Shidrup means an obstacle in your mind which prevents you from reaching omniscience. You see what I mean? It's not parallel. One is the nature of what blocks you, and the other is nature of what it blocks you from. And the first one is negative and the second one is positive. Okay? So, if I had to ask you, if you believe that the pen is coming from its own side, is that more of an obstacle to reaching nirvana, or is it more an obstacle to reaching Buddhahood?
It depends on the
If
soul.
you think the pen is coming from its own side, does that more block you from reaching nirvana, or does it more block you from reaching Buddhahood? And the lower middle way says nirvana. Okay, which means the higher middle way says Buddhahood, or not. Okay, and by the way, the key here is that here's a strange one. Okay, misperceiving the pen is not a negative thought in Buddhism. Okay, misperceiving the pen is not a kind of mental disturbance. Okay, it's not a klesha, it's not a nyomo, it's not a negative thought. Okay, huh? Yeah, it's not klesha. It's not a klesha. Okay, the first link in the wheel of life is not a klesha. Okay, the one that causes all suffering is not a klesha. It's not a negative emotion. Okay, in Buddhism, in the highest schools of Buddhism, and it does not directly disturb your mind, which is the definition of a klesha. Okay, it causes things which disturb all minds, but it doesn't disturb minds. Go figure. Okay, that's the third one. And then the fourth one. Oh, this is hard, Adam. Let's see how you translate it. Tendencies, enlightened beings never misperceive anything they see. Sangeke tunang me shindu, jine pasipate. Yeah, good. So trul nang, say trul nang. Trul nang means to have a false impression. Okay? Trul nang means to have a false impression. All right? And when you're looking at a pen, you can see a pen, and then inherently you see that it's coming from its own side. Okay? Normal human being. And then a few people can see that it's not coming from its own side. Okay? So it says here, mistaken impression. What's the mistaken impression? This pen is coming from its own side. This pen was made in a factory in Japan or something. That's wrong in Buddhism. That idea is completely wrong, okay? This pen is a Buddha who wanted to be a tricycle and couldn't do it and became a pen instead. No, sorry, we're in the wrong school. So Tunung means misperception, okay? Now, there's Dundam Demba and there's Kunzo Demba, okay? Say Dundam Demba, Kunzo Demba. Ultimate reality and fake reality, okay? Dundam Demba, ultimate reality. Kunzo Demba, fake reality, okay? Ultimate reality is always emptiness, okay? Which means everything else is fake reality, in the sense that it's an artificial reality. It's created by our mental pictures. It is not coming from its own side. It's artificial. We create it. Okay? So either reality is ultimate reality, which is the lack of not being created, or it's created reality, artificial reality. Okay? Those are the only two kinds of reality. And here it says, now I'll ask you. So if I say emptiness is ultimate reality, and all other existing things are part of fake reality or apparent reality, call it apparent reality, okay? Now I ask you a tough question. Does a Buddha see everything in the universe? That's what the word Buddha means, okay? So does a Buddha see all the existing objects in the universe? Yes. That implies they see ultimate reality objects and they see artificial reality or fake reality, okay? So if that's true, do they have any mistaken state of mind? But they see fake reality. Okay, so only the highest school, only the higher middle way says a Buddha can be looking at fake reality and not be faked out. Okay, that's all. And that's the fourth positive quality among the 8 qualities, the first 4 being negative and the second 4 being positive, that distinguish the higher middle way from the lower middle way. Which you were always wondering how there could be a middle way guy who was wrong. Right? The lower middle way school is wrong on these 8 points. That's all. If they could clean up those 8 things, they'd be higher middle way. Okay? And they're not easy. They're kind of sticky, right? They're kind of, to say that misunderstanding reality is not a klesha, it's not a negative emotion, that's hard. You know? Maybe I'll stay at the lower middle way. Okay? All right. Sikpate, drup chok shi means Adam. Drup chok, as opposed
like a positive position.
Yeah, so above, he should have said gak chok shi, which he didn't. He should have said 4 negative ones and 4 positive ones.
Yeah.
So here he just says 4 positive words. Dang che here means $100. But
it's a lot that they're associated with.
Yeah, okay, Gibson got it. $100. See, it's worth it to come to Sedona. Yeah, it means for a totals of. So he had 4 negative assertions or 4 denials of the lower middle way that make it different from the higher middle way, and then 4 positive assertions of the higher middle way that distinguish it from the lower middle way. Okay, for a total of Dang Chepa Gibson, Ge. 8. For a total of 8. Okay, all right. Now we can start the class. Right, Adam? Are you done? You got more? I hope not.
No, sir. That was it.
Okay. Okay, I'll say it again. Rob asked Google, how many times typically would a person use, mental affliction? And by the way, it's all Buddhist translations, okay? It's no normal text. It's 1,400, something like that. 1,000 times. How many times negative emotion? 1,200,000. And in translation, in the art of translation, we talk about statistics, statistics of common usage. So you should always go for the more common usage, if it's accurate. Okay, all right, cool. I'm back to sharing my screen. Here we go. Let me get this out of the way. Can you guys see me? Am I on? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So I'll tell you what was happening. Adam's text, which is one of the most famous texts in Buddhism. So we're lucky because we are the what in translation, the art of translation is called the classical period, which means we are in the period of the beginning of the translation of the classics of Asia. There are 300,000 high-quality classics in Asia. There are 530 high-quality classics in the West. Okay, just for comparison, 530 compared to 300,000. Okay, and that's why people should learn to translate, because they're not translated. Okay, so anyway, you got in there you have this word called rangrik, which means the capacity of the mind to see itself in the same moment, which you could call it self-awareness or something like that. Okay, and the higher school would say it's possible or it's not possible. They'd say it's not possible. You can see, you can have an emotion, and in the next millisecond you can feel that emotion, but it doesn't happen in the same millisecond. And that's called apperception, the ability of the mind to see itself in the same moment, okay? And I wanted to share with you, I personally, as a translator, I would like to stop and explore this idea because it's important enough to divide the two parts of the middle way school. It's one of the 8 ideas that separates the men from the boys. Okay, so I think maybe it's important. Okay, and I've never seen a discussion of it. I've never seen. There is the bear and the bite thing. That's an old discussion, but Shantideva. But what I did was I went through and took out references to it that I would like Adam to make an appendix. I would like to have a apperception appendix because I haven't seen a discussion of it. And if it's 12.5% of what distinguishes the highest school from everybody else, I think it's worth having a conversation about it. At least understand what the heck it is, okay? So I'm doing a on-purpose detour. I do a lot of not on-purpose detours to old man stories, but I'm not doing it. I chose some, what I think are definitive references to this apperception, and I would like to read them together. Okay, so they're not in any particular order. They're in the order that John Brady's search program hit them. Okay, but let me start here. Okay, I'm curious if the middle way school famously says there's not just 6 kinds of consciousness, there are 8. Okay, if they're big deal, if they're called, what's their other name? Besides mind only, what's their other name?
Yogacara.
Yeah, Yogacara, or they are called mentalists, because they accept 8 forms of consciousness. Every Buddhist school accepts 6 forms of consciousness. Eye, ear, go down, right? Eye, ear, nose, tongue, skin, and mind. Okay, was that 6? No. Eye, ear, nose, tongue, skin, and mind. Okay, all Buddhist schools accept 6 consciousnesses. Mind-only school adds 2, which is alaya vijnana, foundation consciousness or storehouse consciousness, and messed up mind, which is good translation. But they actually accept Rangrig also. They accept 9. Okay, they don't accept 8. They accept 9. And then here's some statistics. Okay, in Word's first translation of the Mind-Only School, which is the best translation of the Mind-Only School ever done into a foreign language. Okay, his first book is the best translation about the Mind-Only School ever done into a foreign language. His second book is going to be better, but it's much, much more difficult. So that apperception, or the ability of the mind to see itself in a single millisecond, is mentioned twice in the most important mind-only book ever translated. And it doesn't define it, and it doesn't explain it. It just mentions it, okay? That's kind of frustrating, okay? And then, guess how many it's mentioned in the ultimate mind-only book by Jetsam Kabar? Not once. Which is Word's second book that, it took us 10 years to get on it. Okay? It's never mentioned. And this is supposed to be one of the great ideas of the Mind-Only School. Okay? So I'm frustrated. I want to go dig around and see what information we can get about it. So here are random mentions in John Brady's 300,000 books, right, about apperception. And maybe by the end of these quotations, we will understand it better. And this doesn't count in my paid time. This is free. Okay, we're doing this because we want to know, and not because it's in the book. Okay, which is the mixed nuts characteristic. All right. So I'm going to ask. I put it in the larger typeface. Okay. I isolated the important ideas. Okay. So Adam, who's going to read the big letters here?
Let's see. Who's in the audience? I remember, Juan. Can Juan help us?
Yeah, and then if you want, Adam, I can ask the victims here to choose the next victim, and it's kind of automatic. Okay.
Perfect.
All right.
We covered this section.
I'm sorry.
In the class.
Okay, let's skip that one. What it says is Chiden Nangwanyin Mepe. It is indisputable that outer objects do appear. Therefore, Kunchi Rangre Yuminla, there's no such thing as storehouse consciousness, and there's no such thing as apperception. Now, which means nobody can argue that things appear to us on the outside. Therefore, I find the idea of storehouse consciousness to be mistaken. Because the concept of storehouse consciousness is that when you see a pizza, and I don't know why I'm thinking about that, you don't see it as an outside object. You are watching something in your own mind. Okay, when you see an actual pizza, it's something in your own mind. Okay, that's mind-only school. That's why they're called mind-only. Okay, but he says if outer objects were undeniable, then apperception would also be impossible.
Mm-hmm.
That's, you got to cook that. You got it? If outside objects exist, then the mind-only idea that there's a part of your mind where seeds open into blue, and you're watching blue inside your own mind your whole life. You never see an outside blue. Okay, I can buy that. If it's the case that I do spot an outside blue, and it is an outside blue, then the mind-only school is wrong. Okay, but he also says in the same breath, if it's the case that there's an outside blue, there's no such thing as apperception. There's no such thing as the mind perceiving itself if there's an outside blue. Go figure. Some great scholar said that. Okay, who was that? Tsongkhapa. All right.
Does that have to do with the time gap discrepancy there? I mean, that
Could be.
the subject and object would be ripening in the same moment?
Yeah, I would like. That's a pretty cool idea. So Adam's saying it takes time to perceive an outside object. So if to perceive an outside object is to perceive your own mind, that doesn't take any time. Okay, you don't have to go to the outside, see the object, come back, say I saw it. Okay, could be. I like that. Okay, I got big letters here, Adam. Is Hasso gonna read? Are you ready? Okay.
Yeah, we get a Hasso.
Oh, we finished this part. We finished this part too.
Yeah, we've already done this part as well.
Okay, Hasso, can you read this one?
Dean?
Yep.
Okay. Dean che su shepa madrup che kung shi tang rang rik mepe drup che ten. Chidung ngangwa nyon me chepe chidun yope drup che tenno.
Okay, so some other author has mentioned apperception, the ability of the mind to see itself in a single moment. Okay, and this writer is also Tsongkhapa. Okay, and so I tried to choose the big gun. Now, chesa is a word you guys don't know. Okay, che means to examine, su means to be patient, but chesa is an ancient word for how can I say? Let me think about it. Chase means, like, I don't know, you drove here in a car, right? So, can you see that car?
Yes.
That's a kind of a memory image, right? Like you can close your eyes and say, yeah, I drove here in a car. What color was it? Oh, it was white, you know. So that's a reflection. We call it a reflection or a recollection. Okay, there's a big question in the Pramana schools, in the second school, about what is correct perception. Is recollection a correct perception? I'll give you the background. According to that second school, which is called the logic schools, sutras. According to them, there's only two kinds of accurate perception. One is direct, like your eyes, and one is logical. Like, I think my car's still in the parking lot because I didn't hear anybody steal it. Okay, seriously. So where does recollection fit into those two? Would the second school say that a recollection is a correct perception? And if you say yes, they would, you have to tell me which of the two it is. Is it a direct perception or is it a logical perception? Yeah, you could argue that recollection is a logical perception. Okay, you could argue that, and some people do argue that. You know, I'm assuming I drove here in a car because I'm here, or something like that. Okay, but it's not really a logical process to remember a car. You see what I mean? So where does that fit? Deang Chesa Shepa Madrupche. It says some people say that kind of recollection is not a pramana. It's not an accurate perception.
Yeah.
It doesn't qualify as strongly as seeing the glass of water or logically establishing that your car must still be in the parking lot. It's too flimsy. Recollections are notoriously flimsy, like in a marriage. You know, that's not what I said yesterday. Yeah, it is. You know, I mean, recollections are notoriously, what do you call it? They change. They change instantly. Okay, so anyway, the lower schools, there's a debate in the Buddhism. Is a recollection an accurate perception? Okay, and he says, Madru, it's not. Okay, it's not a tsema. Okay, kunshi dan rangring make it duche ten. That's a proof that storehouse consciousness and apperception are not real. saying that recollections are not accurate perceptions is a proof that storehouse consciousness and apperception are not correct. That's Tsongkhapa. And how he makes that leap, okay, that's subtle. Okay, you'd have to chew on that. Okay, you got to chew on that. Okay. Most people don't even know what Geshe means, so it doesn't matter. But anyway.
Geshe, earlier in our text, like 2 years ago, we reached a section where we were talking about Geshe.
Yeah.
And Kajip J made the assertion that it actually was an accurate perception.
Yeah. Che su shepa madrup che. This quotation says, when I say that recollection doesn't even exist, what I mean is, I'm just trying to prove to you that kunshi and ranrik don't exist.
Okay.
So let's, what we're doing with this string of quotations is we're taking important quotations about our perception out of many different great books. And I'm just saying by the end, maybe we'll have a clearer idea. I don't think we have to resolve every single one. But somebody's of the opinion that it can be proven that storehouse consciousness and apperception don't exist, which means the mind-only school is wrong. Okay? All right? Now, here's more. Chidun nangwa nyun me. What's that, Adam? Very famous quotation. Chidun nangwa nyun me.
It's indisputable that outside objects appear.
Yeah, come on. You know, don't tell me I'm watching, when I look at this cup of water, don't tell me I'm watching part of my mind. Any fool can see it's not in my mind. Okay, that's the quotation here. It's very famous. Chidun nangwa nyun me, you know. The fact that things appear outside, come on. That's all it says. That things, the fact that things appear outside, things can appear outside, come on. Okay? That's all. That's famous quotation. Things don't appear outside, come on. Nyunmei, okay? All right, che, chidun yu.
Outer objects exist.
Do exist.
They're there.
Okay? Yeah. Therefore, and that proves it, okay? All right. If outer objects exist, then two states of mind that the mind-only school want to add to the list of 6 consciousnesses don't exist. And they are kunshi, storehouse consciousness, and then rangrik, the ability of the mind to see itself. Okay, so far, what information do we have about these 2 states of mind? There are big guys who say they don't exist. Okay, that's all. That's all we got so far, basically. Okay, now we got a quotation from Tsongkhapa, another one. For the guy who never mentioned it in his book on the mind only, he's got a lot to say about it. So Haso's picking the next victim, and we have 5 minutes. Okay.
Oh.
Francisco, I left my heart.
Nimpa, Rangi, Mita, Pang, Liu, Tangso, Boring, Pe, Ya, So, Mepal. Tumpa, Nyama, Rangdeste, Tontung, Le, Tal, Yurba, Rangrika, Milen, Pe, Intang, Rangstang, Kashangdung, Kashmilen. Pala, Tung, Ches, Uns, Pe, Sung, Pe, Pier.
Yeah, good. Let me go back to something. I think I might have.
Chesa.
I think I gave you a wrong definition of chesa, because this chesa is different and it's better. Okay, so I'm questioning my own interpretation before. This chesa means something different. Okay, sa here. What does sepa mean? Patience, and che means to examine, And Che-su means, can it stand up under examination? Okay, can it stand up under examination? So we'll have to go back and look at the first one. Here it's more clear. Okay.
Again, can we kind of think of it like Qigong?
Qigong. Yeah. But Che-su, the classic Che-su is if the pen existed from its own side, then the dog would have to want to write something. Okay? If the pen existed from its own side, then the dog would have to write with it. Okay? Therefore, a pen which is a pen from its own side does not stand up under examination. And that's Che-su. Okay? That's how he's using Che-su here. Su means to be patient, but it means to stand up under examination. Okay? To bear examination. Okay?
And like analytical reasoning, or?
Yeah, that's the Che. Yeah, that's the Che. But Che-su means, can the pen that was made in the factory stand up under tough questioning? And the answer is no, it cannot. That's called Che-su, stand up under examination. Okay, it cannot bear examination. And you say, I can't stand it anymore, I can't bear it anymore. That's patience, right? So in Tibetan, the word is the same. To bear examination and to bear someone else's insults are the same word in Tibetan. And they are in English. Okay, Nipa Rangrik Mi Te Pang. Rangrik Mi Te means what, Adam?
That apperception is incorrect.
Yeah, to say that the mind can see itself in the same moment that it sees something else. You see, the idea is, can the mind hold two objects at the same instant? You know, can you have a thought of being upset, and can you be aware that you're upset at the same moment? And they say no. The awareness that you're upset is a millisecond later. But in a single instant, your mind cannot perceive two disparate objects, two completely different objects. Okay, you can't be aware that you're upset till after you're upset, although it could be a millisecond later. Okay, therefore there's no apperception. Okay? Although it feels like apperception. Okay, are you upset? Yes. Are you aware you're upset? Yes. But you're not really. You're remembering that you're upset. Okay. 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 Gyusen So, what's the main reason why apperception is mistaken? Rigbe Chesa Mepa.
Because it doesn't stand up under chaser reasoning.
Yeah. The idea that you could be upset and be aware that you're upset in the same millisecond is illogical. Okay, you'd have to be upset, and then in the next millisecond you'd have to be aware that you're upset. Okay, so it's illogical. It cannot stand up under examination. Tupangama Dandate is similar to cases we had before. And then, here's something interesting. This is a quotation from Jetson Kaba, right? And he's quoting Tongtun.
The Tongtun Chimo.
Which was written by who? Kirubje. And it happens to be the book we're studying right now.
Yeah.
Okay? So it appears to be that Tsongkhapa is quoting his student, which is strange, unusual. Okay? Because students are always wrong. Okay, Tongtun Le. Teongyurwa means what? And by the way, we're out of time, but we're going to go one more minute. Teongyurwa means what?
Consequence.
Hunger.
Yeah, the higher school, the middle way, Prasangika, Teongyurwa.
Mm-hmm.
They do not believe in the self-existence of logic. They believe above all things that logic is what do you call it? Subjective. Okay, they believe that logic is subjective. Okay, so why are they called logicians? Why are they called consequence school, which is the highest form of logic? If they don't believe that it's real.
And they fling consequences based on the other person's assertions.
Yeah, they love this logical technique of, a person says all fruits are orange, and you say, oh, so bananas are orange. That's their big thing. They love to frustrate the other side, and they are named after that mean tendency to turn a person's ideas back on them. Oh, I guess bananas are orange, okay? Their name, prasangika, means a sarcastic implication. Okay, they are the sarcastic school. And they're
But
the best.
Geshe, doesn't that presume that they're understanding what the words are being said in the same way that the lower middle way school
could
does?
be, yeah, very possible. Okay, we're out of time. I'm trying to finish. These guys got to go to the bathroom or eat, or both. Why do? By the way, tuk means to meet somebody, or to come to that. The ultimate reason. Everything the higher middle way school says comes down to tuk. Okay, comes down to. Tuk means comes down to. All that they're saying about all these mind-only stuff comes down to one thing. Sorry. Rang sen ta nye doang ke milen. Translate that, Adam. We can all go home.
Reasons are that Kamilan, we don't accept.
No, don't go that far. Don't go back that far. Just say.
Okay.
Translate Rang sen ta nye doang ke milen. That one line, and then we can go home.
Yeah. So reasons are nominal, and we don't accept that.
No, we don't accept. We don't accept the idea of Rangsen.
Actual objects. Excuse me. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. I don't know what I was thinking there.
Even nominally, we don't accept the idea of an actual object. Okay. We don't accept the idea of an actual object. Okay. We don't accept that there's an actual cup out there.
Yeah.
Okay? That's all. All of our.
For some reason I was reading is Gusen.
The reason we can't accept apperception is that we cannot accept the division of reality into archetypes and things. The reason we cannot accept your mind-only fancy states of mind is that we cannot accept the division of reality into mental archetypes and actual cases in the real world. We cannot accept that division. I'll say it again. The reason we can't accept your fancy mind-only states of mind that you want us to agree to is that we cannot accept the division of reality into ideas, concepts, archetypes, and actual things in the world. We can't accept that division. Why? Tell me that and you can go home. Who's talking? Higher middle way. Highest school of Buddhism. The Buddha is talking. Okay. I cannot accept your division, you lower Buddhists, of the reality into
because you're talking about them nominally. You're not saying that actual objects exist don't exist from their own side.
It's a little bit cooler than that. I'll say it again. Mind-only school and you other guys. The reason we can't go along with you, and lower middle way, the reason we can't go along with apperception, the reason we can't go along with storehouse consciousness, the reason why we cannot accept your version of messed up consciousness is that we cannot accept a grand division of all reality into mental archetypes and real stuff. Why? Because real stuff is mental archetypes in the highest school of Buddhism. Got it?
Yeah.
Therefore, is everything in your head? No. If you think so, go stand out in front of one of these cars speeding by, and you will get a broken leg in your head. but you don't have to worry about it. Got it? So it's a beautiful idea. I cannot accept your grand theory about a reality in the mind and a reality outside because it is in the mind. Okay, I cannot accept your division into things that are created by the mind and then real things. I can't accept that because real things are the things that your mind creates. They are unified. They are the same thing. Got it? The pen is coming from you. Got it? Cool. Very beautiful. So I can't accept these extra mind states that you talk about because they're not necessary. We already said that. Got it? It's very beautiful. It's very deep. Okay? All right, we'll continue to struggle, and Adam will continue to translate all the big fat letters in the next few pages to see if there's more cool stuff inside of it. 1, 2. Okay, Adam?
Yeah, I'll just keep going.
Yeah, for your homework, for your translation homework, translate the next 2 sections of big letters. Okay?
Okay.
All right. And then I'll allow you to go back to the book. Okay? Cool? All right, bye. Thank you, Adam. Say hi to my little granddaughter there.
Definitely will, sir.
Ava. Yeah. Oh my God, she's getting so cool.
Thank you for the class, Geshe.
Yeah, give her a hug
it's really
for me.
helping me.
Okay.
Answering a lot of questions I've had.
Thank you.
So.
Okay, bonsoir.
Thank you, Geshe Michael. Thank you.
13th. What's happening on December 13th? In Flagstaff. By the way, he could care less if you go, but I just want you to go. Okay. All right. Thanks.